Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
And good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Andrea Lutz.
And I'm Russ Riesinger. Montana Governor Steve Bullock finally making it official today that he is making a run for president.
And of course, Bullock, a familiar face in Montana, having served 2 terms as governor. But now he faces the challenge of trying to stand out in a crowded field of Democrats.
Bullock will now head to Iowa, where the fast-track campaigning is set to begin. MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison has more on the governor's not-so-unexpected announcement.
Governor Bullock kicked things off at 4 a.m. Tuesday with a 2-minute, 44-second campaign video going heavy on his campaign theme of getting big money out of politics and how it has skewed the system against the average person.
I believe in an America where every child has a fair shot to do better than their parents. But we all know that that kind of opportunity no longer exists for most people. For far too many, it never has. That's why we need to defeat Donald Trump in 2020 and defeat the corrupt system that lets campaign money drown out the people's voice.
He followed that up with an interview Tuesday morning with Montana reporters at his campaign headquarters in Helena, where he talked more about what brought him into the race. As he put it, the country has become more and more divided, and he has a record of bridging the political divide to do good things for the people, like expanding Medicaid coverage in Montana and cracking down on dark money in politics. Then it was on to the big event of the day, meeting with students at his alma mater, Helena High, including his daughter, Caroline, and a scrum of national media.
This morning, we released a video announcing that I was running for President of the United States in 2020. It's a pretty audacious goal for a B student who sat in these same seats that you actually are sitting in right now.
The rest of this week, it's off to Iowa for Bullock, who campaigns Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the state that holds the first presidential nominating caucus next February. Tuesday, however, was the easy part for Bullock. Now comes the hard part, trying to distinguish himself in a huge and experienced field of national-level political talent. He'll talk about winning in a Trump state and rural America, and his bona fides on fighting and spotlighting corporate money in politics. But will it be enough for a late entry into this crowded, star-studded race? For Steve Bullock, it's been quite the winding trail, from this high school to governor of Montana. Now he'll try to make the jump to a much higher level and extend that political journey. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
All right, although no official announcement is made, Political reporting Bullock is one of 19 candidates who already met the Democratic Party's requirements for the first debate.
And that debate set to be held in Miami at the end of June.
Well, one of Bullock's first unofficial campaign stops today is at that 10 Mile Creek Brewery that's in Helena.
MTN's Evelyn Schultz was there and got reaction from those in attendance.
Governor Bullock, now a presidential candidate, was here in downtown Helena at 10 Mile Creek Brewery for about 20 minutes tonight talking to people. Some of those people had no idea he was even going to be here. We got some of their reactions.
I give him kudos for running. And, as a Montanian, I'd like to, to give him that. Unfortunately, we've been really happy with Trump, so that's probably where I'm going to stay. But I am really, just knowing we're from Montana and someone has that ambition, I'm proud of that.
I feel like he's always been a proponent for veterans, public lands, everything that Montana really stands for. So I think it puts us in the limelight in a positive manner.
From here, Bullock heads to Iowa for an 8-county, 3-day tour, but it is still a long road to the primaries. Reporting in Helena, Evelyn Schultz, MTN News.
And tonight, political experts and analysts across the country and across the state are weighing in on Bullock's presidential announcement.
Now, that's right. And to get some help navigating what this means for Montana and understanding Bullock's chances, I sat down with a political professor for some perspective. We know what the stage is for the presidential candidacy, 22 different Democrats. Where is Bullock going to really find his place here?
It's pretty early, so we don't know quite where things will end up. He's one of 22. He just got in the race. Polling's not necessarily in his favor, but again, it's very early.
Let's talk about, this is the biggest question that I think Montanans are asking themselves. They're asking the governor, too. Why didn't you go for the Senate? Why make that huge leap to the presidency?
Well, he's an executive for the state right now, and I think that's probably his wheelhouse. He's probably the most comfortable in an executive position. You don't get a lot of attention in Congress. You're one of 535 people versus a president.
What are his chances of actually making Montana, which, you know, as we have talked about, it's pretty red. You know, you might say it's purple, but what are your chances of actually winning our own state?
You know, if he can get on the debate stage, that means his polling has to be good. You know, he has to be a high enough profile to get on the debate stage. If he does that, there is a chance.
And Dr. Pope also says if Bullock doesn't have a shot, he may have a chance at a cabinet position if Democrat is chosen for the next president in 2020.
On his first official campaign swing for president, Bullock is headed off to Iowa this week, the site of the first in the nation presidential nominating primary next February, their caucus. Today, he kicked off his campaign with his formal announcement at Helena High School, where the two-term governor attended high school. Then on Thursday, Bullock is off to Iowa. His first stop will be in Des Moines. Campaign stops across Iowa are planned through Saturday with events across the Hawkeye State. Bullock's campaign says it'll be focusing on Iowa, obviously needing to get some attention there and make a decent showing when Iowa holds its caucus on February 3rd of 2020. When Billings business was busy as a result of Governor Bullock's run for president, the Billings Times was awarded a contract to do printing for Bullock's presidential run. The Times, which has been in business since 1891 in Billings, is printing letterhead, envelopes for fundraising, and thousands of rally signs for Bullock's presidential campaign.
It's a huge honor. Yeah, we've done work for Governor Bullock in both of his campaigns, and for them to come to us right off the bat when he was announcing for president to do work for him, it's a tremendous honor. We're very proud.
Now, employees at the Times had to sign non-disclosure agreements to keep the governor's run for president a secret until it was officially announced today.
Wow, they are going to be busy there. Okay, so turning to weather, Bob, we're doing a complete 180 on the weather. We're going from warm and sunny now to rain.
Yeah, we started off with some spotty rain showers today. That was the beginning. We're getting ready for a prolonged wet trend, one that's going to bring some cooler temperatures. But let me show you. Here's where we are tonight. Look at all the rain showers. This is what we had in the southwest corner of the state and also up in the northeast. So watch what happens. By tomorrow morning, looks like more rain showers starting to move in by 8 p.m. Wednesday evening. And then after that, look at this. By Thursday, some more scattered rain showers off and on by 6:30. By Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the rain just sticks around all day long, all weekend long, all the way up till Sunday. So what does that mean for precipitation-wise? Well, here in the Billings area, by through Friday, 7 p.m., maybe about 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches over in Bozeman, 1 1/3 at Livingston. Other places like Great Falls, you'll see about 1.5. But watch what happens as we go into next weekend. By the time Sunday gets here, we're looking at almost 2.5 inches for Billings, over 3 inches over in Bozeman, and 2.5 for Miles City. It's going to be a wet period, a wet weekend. We'll have the rest of your forecast in a few more minutes.
All right, thank you, Bob. We've got new details tonight surrounding the death of a 15-year-old Billings girl killed by a gunshot over the weekend. Police now say they're investigating the involvement of other kids in that case.
Well, the police identified the victim as 15-year-old Tiana Rowland. The shooting happened Saturday night on Stella Street in the Billings Heights. And Lieutenant Brandon Woolley says no charges are yet filed, no arrests have been made.
Well, tonight, police have not released the nature of Rowland's death and are determining if that shooting was accidental or a homicide.
Well, just 6 months into the job, and the Billings City Administrator is getting a raise. Last night, the Billings City Council gave Chris Kukulski his 6-month job evaluation. And a contract clause says that after 6 months, the city can increase the salary by 5%. The increase bumps Kukulski's salary now to $188,000 a year. The council voted 8-2 to approve the raise, and Billings Mayor Bill Cole says the raise brings the salary closer to cities of a similar size. 2 council members voted no to the measure. They said they didn't believe a raise was appropriate given the city's dwindling finances.
Billings Fire Department had to rescue 2 men who got stuck on the rims this afternoon. Firefighters responding to a call about 12:30 of 3 Billings men who were trying to climb down a 30-foot drop on the rims. They slid down the rocks. 2 of them weren't able to get back up. According to Billings Fire Battalion Chief Kevin Johnson, they were looking over the rims, thought they'd climb that steep edge, but instead they slid down. Johnson said one of the men climbed up on his own, but the other 2 needed assistance to get back up. The fire department uses about 15 team members to make a rescue like this, and It was a successful one with no injuries.
Oh, goodness. Thank goodness for those firefighters. Always there to help. Well, coming up tonight on the 10 o'clock news, we may be pretty landlocked, but the chance for a Shark Tank type opportunity, it's drawing businesses across Montana to make the pitch of a lifetime.
Plus, another school is getting added to the sports world. Tonight, we'll do a little digging to find out its impact in Bozeman.
And later in sports, meet the Athlete of the Year finalists. It's Ellie Ostermiller with a genuine laugh and a dangerous swing.
You're watching MTN News with Janelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.